What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports, the podcast where we talk sports and other girly things. I'm Sam Cardona, and thank you guys all for listening today. As usual, we have a lovely show lined up for you guys today. We do have another guest this week. It is my friend Gabe Flaten. We had a college sports show back, obviously, when we went to college together. So we talk about the NFC North in this interview. So we're going to delve into that in just a little bit, but I got to do my plugs as per usual. Don't forget to follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever it is that you get your podcasts from, and please leave an Apple Podcast review. It's very helpful for me to help get the podcast more onto the charts, and it also just feels nice to get some reassurance. It's quite nice. Also, don't forget to subscribe on the YouTube channel, The Girl Who Talks Sports, where I post full-length podcast episodes with full-on recordings of me. And obviously now I'm having more guests on, so you'll be seeing my guests as well. So make sure that you check out the YouTube video, and I might be putting up some special videos this week. Possibly, we will see, and you will only be able to get those videos if you subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on the little bell to make sure that you get notified every time I upload a new video. So, oh, and also the Twitter, TGWTS Podcast. Don't forget to follow us there. We post fun updates, fun tweets, how the Giants are my demise. It's a really fun place. So please make sure that you give us a follow on Twitter. Okay, everybody. So since we have an interview today with my friend Gabe, I want to just delve into our COVID updates really quick. We'll delve into Gabe's interview, and then after Gabe's interview is done, we will finish up NFL Week 8 because we do only cover the NFC North, and then we will do the rest of our segments for the show. So let's get into our COVID updates. So first things first, the Ravens have entered COVID protocol because Marlon Humphreys has contracted COVID-19. He has been sent to self-isolation, and right now everything is being done virtually with the Ravens facility, and I'm sure since they just played the Steelers will also be testing to make sure that they are not positive as well. The Arizona Cardinals have 2 players that have contracted COVID-19. However, they were just on their bye week, so this is probably beneficial for everyone, but we will, the Cardinals do have to enter these COVID protocols in terms of doing virtual meetings, ceasing practice, which is really unfortunate, but it has to be done. And finally, the Packers running back A.J. Dillon has tested positive for COVID, and this past Monday, they held virtual meetings. He will not be playing Thursday night against the 49ers. The Packers are in a little bit of a, sketchy situation because they are playing much, much sooner than Sunday since they are playing Thursday night. So they will have to make sure that everybody is cleared, everybody tests negative before they play the 49ers. All right, that is our quick COVID update. So everyone, I hope you all enjoyed the interview with Mr. Gabe Flaten, and here it is. Hi, Gabe.
Hey, Sam. What's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing really well after the Vikings win, as you can tell.
I mean, I could only imagine what an amazing feeling that must be, because that blew my mind, and we're going to get into it. Before we do, why don't you kind of introduce yourself, let the people know what you're doing and everything?
Yeah, so I just graduated from UAlbany, and if anybody doesn't know, sophomore year of my time in college, I did a radio show with you. You were a senior, and it was every Monday morning. That was a tough one waking up for, but Oof. It was a lot of fun. You were my first radio partner. That was the first semester I ever did college radio. And then after graduating college, I'm now doing my own podcast on Facebook Live called The North Pole, where I just break down all of the NFC North teams on a week-to-week basis. I get guests from each team, fans, beat reporters. It's a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed doing it so far this year.
That's awesome. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today is NFC North, because we had at least two very good games involving the NFC North teams. Obviously, Minnesota and Green Bay. And if you guys can't tell, if you're not watching the video, Gabe has a Vikings jersey on. So we are, what is it, Thielen?
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. So let's just like hop right into it. So first things first, you lose Dalvin Cook. Now Dalvin Cook has come back and had a monstrous game with 4 touchdowns. How do you think like Dalvin Cook really makes an impact on this team, and like losing him, even though you guys had a fairly good backup running back? Like, how did that really like impact your game this week?
Yeah, it's huge. We saw what Alexander Madison couldn't do against the Falcons last week or 2 weeks ago before the bye week, and he only had a 20-something rushing yards, and the Vikings were losing most of the game. With Dalvin Cook on the offense, our offense is really good. He creates opportunities for Kirk Cousins. He creates opportunities for Adam Thielen, for Justin Jefferson, for everybody on that team. He is the nucleus of the offense, and the things he does, I can't even explain them. He turns 5-yard runs into 40-yard runs, and he'll turn what looks like a negative run into 4 or 5 yards. He really is a game-changing running back.
Yeah, and I mean, it also helps that your offensive line is fairly good, that they can make those holes for him, but I think otherwise he's that good that even if he was given just like the slightest bit of some sort of entrance, he would just take off.
Absolutely, Sam. I watched the Bears play, and a guy that everybody really likes to talk about is David Montgomery on the Bears.
Yep.
And he does a lot with a little. And if you put Dalvin Cook on the Bears, I think he would turn a lot of those runs into really big runs, whereas David Montgomery, who gets caught up to, he's not ultra fast. I think he struggles sometimes with that bad offensive line. You said we have a good offensive line. You're not wrong in the run game, but in the passing game, we're god-awful. So having Dalvin Cook back, it kind of hides the blemishes of our offensive line, and I think you really can't quantify his worth on this team. What he got paid, I don't even think he's the highest paid running back in the league, but in terms of value, I think he is the most valuable running back in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and I mean, he really made a difference in this game, 4 touchdowns, really big deal. When they went into the half, I mean, they were tied 14-14 against the Green Bay Packers, who were 5-2. Were you really expecting them to come out and win this game?
It's a very good question. At the time, I mean, I didn't think we would win. I mean, we find ways to lose every week against the Seahawks, against the Titans, where we were up in those games. In this one, there's no comfortable lead against Aaron Rodgers. He even on the last drive of the game, he almost came back and beat us in what would have been the most stunning comeback. But I think our offense was our best defense in this game. We punted the ball 0 times in the first half. In the second half, we punted 3 times. But even though we punted more, we were still moving the ball well. We got the ball to midfield. The classic Vikings this year has been 3 and out. We've gone 3 and out probably more than any team. And what I loved about this game was that we did not attempt to pass in this one over 20 yards from the line of scrimmage. This was all just simple stuff. And coming off the bye week, our offensive coordinator, Gary Kubiak, drew up a really simple game plan, and it worked really well because this Packers defense isn't that good.
No, not
at
all.
They are not good. And if you just run your bread and butter really well in a game where the weather was awful, that's a winning recipe. And I think we've been doing this all year on offense. The Vikings have been scoring the ball a lot this year. I think we averaged 26 points a game. It's just our defense that's really lost it. But this time, hey, 22 points against the Packers, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned that last drive with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, of course, Aaron Rodgers is an excellent football player, and their offense is excellent. So you had who made that sack on him in that last play? Do you know?
Yeah, DJ Wanham, our rookie defensive end. I think we got him in the 4th or 5th round, and that was an awesome play because if you gave Aaron Rodgers a chance for a last-second Hail Mary, if you saw our secondary they have no ball skills. I would have been terrified seeing that ball in the air. But that was a huge play by Wanham. That was our only sack of the game.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Because like when they started, when he started falling out and falling back, I was like, it's like there's no way that they don't get this. And the Vikings have come so close, especially in that Seahawks game, that Sunday night Seahawks game. They were so close to win that game. And I was like, oh, another upset for the Vikings. And all of a sudden here he comes right behind. And they thought that it was going to be possibly an incomplete pass. And they were like, well, maybe, because it was like literally down to the last second of the game. So, I mean, what kind of emotions were you feeling seeing him come from behind and seeing Aaron Rodgers go down and that ball just not ending in the end zone?
I'll be honest with you, Sam. This game, I showed such little emotion because on one hand, when we're beating the Packers, I'm usually going crazy. But this year, it felt eerie. Like we're winning the game, but just that shadow looming over the field of 1-5 just made me so angry. I'm like, we're winning, but it doesn't feel like we're winning. It doesn't have that satisfaction because it's like I've heard before people say the Packers, they talk about going to the Super Bowl. The Vikings, they just talk about beating the Packers. And that's the part that got like I started thinking about. I'm like, we got to stop getting so excited about beating the Packers. Look at the Packers record. Look at our record. We shouldn't be so concerned with beating them. We should be concerned with winning every single game.
Right. Because at this point, the Lions are last, right? And you guys
We're
are third
actually
now.
last right now.
Oh, really?
But, however, this might be the weirdest season where the Vikings could go 4-1 in the division and still not make the playoffs because we have yet to play the Bears. We have yet to play the Lions. And as of right now, I think we have a really good shot beating both of those teams.
Oh, well. Well, if you can beat Aaron Rodgers, I think at that point I would feel pretty invincible. I definitely would feel the same way.
Dalvin Cook beat Aaron Rodgers, let me tell you. It was all him. And I will give a shout out. One other guy that absolutely looked amazing was Eric Kendricks, our middle linebacker. He had, I think, 12 tackles in the first half alone. He makes every tackle he attempts, and it prevents plays from spilling out into 40-yard, 30-yard runs. He keeps things bottled up. And in this game, Aaron Rodgers only had one completion over 20 yards past the line of scrimmage. And Jamal Williams, I think he had just 75 rushing yards on upwards of 20 carries. So we didn't let any big plays happen, and that's been our Achilles heel this year.
Well, I'm really glad, like, as someone who loves Aaron Rodgers, and I came on your Facebook Live that one time to talk about the Packers. I love the man with all my heart, but I'm really happy for you guys that you guys were able to get such a really big win against a great team and a division. So that's really great.
I'm happy too, and I'm really happy the Bears lost and the Lions lost. So we were the only NFC North team to get a win this week.
Perfect. Very good.
Exciting.
So, all right. So you mentioned the Bears. Let's talk about this Bears-Saints game because, to be quite honest with you, I was expecting this also to be a bit of a blowout. I really wasn't thinking that the Bears were going to bring the Saints into overtime because that blew my mind. But apparently Nick Foles can beat up all of these extremely good quarterbacks and end up in an overtime game. Unfortunately, they lost, but I think that it's good to put on the record that he actually did make it there.
He can make really nice throws when you give him time.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything. Once the play breaks down and things don't go as they were planned, he's not that great. He's got a really good arm, but he needs time and he needs a clean pocket. He has very little mobility. And in this game, he made the throws when they mattered. He made a lot of really nice throws, but every week he makes 2 to 3 really nice throws, but their offense just doesn't make consistent drives, and you just never know what their offense is going to do. And that unpredictability, I blame Matt Nagy a lot, and we'll talk more about him as we talk here.
Yeah. Well, I think before we get into all the statistics of this game, I do want to talk about this fight that happened during this game because this was, in my opinion, like one of the worst fights I've seen, at least in the last couple seasons. It was straight up just dirty, a punch in the face, and probably the easiest ejection that a referee could call all season.
It looked really bad. I was actually eating pizza when I saw it happen. I was at a pizza place and I was watching it on the TV and I'm like, wow, that looks bad. I wonder what made him that angry to do that. And then I hear some rumors, and
Yeah.
apparently, I believe his name's Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
He maybe spit on him prior to that, and I could understand why you would want to hit somebody. But then again, this is also a guy who, Gardner-Johnson, was the person who got involved with the altercation with Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas got so mad at him in practice that he punched him. So there's something about this guy that gets people really angry. There's no reason to hit him in the way he did. But to be fair, Javon Wims, he's not a big name.
No.
I don't think the Bears are going to miss him. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, because he's been suspended for 2 games now. So, I mean, I thought it was going to be much bigger than that, but 2 games it is. But I heard that Gardner-Johnson made it a point to say that he did not, like, that whole spitting thing is a huge rumor and did not happen at all. But he did poke Anthony Miller through his face mask and, like, poked him in the face, and that's why he went up to him to punch him to, like, kind of, like, defend his teammate.
Well, I mean, that makes sense why Anthony Miller keeps dropping all these passes. Maybe it was because he got poked in the eye. That's been, if anybody's watched the Bears a lot this year, Anthony Miller just drops passes every game like Nelson Aguilar did with the Eagles. So I just don't know what to make of it. I saw Sean Payton's interview. I don't trust Sean Payton. I have very little. I think he has the least amount of credibility. First of all, every time they pan to him during the game, he doesn't wear his mask. And I'm not one of those mask police guys, but he's been fined $100,000 for this. And that's a lot of money that he's losing. And on the same time, I'm a Vikings fan. I know what Sean Payton and defensive coordinator at the time, Greg Williams, did to Minnesota in the NFC Championship game with Bounty Gate. And Sean Payton, he's a suspect guy. And after, I think in his interview, he said, Gardner-Johnson, he's just a competitive guy, and he shouldn't be doing that, but that's just who he is, and that's how he gets under the other team's skin. And he should have been more, I guess, he shouldn't have defended him as much as he did. He should have been more of a disciplinarian kind of guy, but I don't think he cares when his players do dirty things. He never has.
Yeah, I know that's I didn't hear that he said that. That's like really, I would not, you could say that to him if you want to say that as a coach to your player, but I wouldn't have said that in the press, because I know Matt Nagy came out and was just like, what Wims did was totally wrong and that does not reflect on us at all. Like, I'm going to talk to him, da 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 da. Like, that's what you say to the press. I would not ever say that about like what Sean Payton said. That's insane. He also had corona. I don't know why he's not wearing a mask.
It beats me. It beats me. And we should go back to that Vikings-Packers game real quick. A.J. Dillon, the running back for Green Bay, he came into the game showing symptoms of an illness, and they tested him, but he didn't get his results until today, and finding out he has coronavirus. And he played a good amount of snaps because Aaron Jones was out. I'm just hoping he didn't spread it. I mean, when you tackle A.J. Dillon, you got to go at his ankles, so hopefully nobody was going head-to-head on him and getting spit on.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was just like, why? Even if it's just like, cautionary, why would you not just be like, okay, they're not feeling well, they don't play this game? I know that it's imperative that certain people play, but
he's a third-string running back. You don't need him on the field. You have Jamal Williams, Tyler Irvin. You have plenty of guys who could play the role. And just to add insult to injury, the Packers didn't even win.
I know. Like, honestly, did it really make that much of a difference to have somebody who's literally spreading corona all over the place? It's ridiculous. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's not good, because especially if he's, like you said, taking as many snaps as he did, I wouldn't be surprised if at least a couple people also have it. If not on the Vikings, then at least on the Packers.
Eric Kendricks made every tackle for the Vikings. If he didn't get it, I'd be shocked.
I know, that's not good. Everybody wear your mask. Quit being babies about it. Okay. So what I do want to ask you quickly, though, do you think, I mean, I know that you guys are in last, but like, who knows what goes on with the rest of this season? The Bears making it this far into this game, almost obviously Drew Brees and the Saints came through, but they are 5-3 now, and they did beat Tom Brady on that Thursday Night Football game. Do you think that the Bears are like a severe threat in this division? Because for some reason I can't figure out if they're good or not.
They have a very high ceiling because their defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense, and they're really just missing points. That's all they're missing, is putting points on the board. And if they put up 7 to 10 more points a game, they are a lethal team. They really are. I make fun of the Bears a lot because for a team that was 5-1, I talked about them on my show like they're a 1-5 team because they have these issues and these blemishes about them that are stark. It's very, very not good to see issues like they're the highest penalized defensive team in the NFL. They've had under 300 yards of total offense in 80% of their games, and they've been winning. The fact that they've been winning is just a testament to guys like Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson, Kyle Fuller. And if they just pick it up on offense, they can see a lot of progress. But if you're playing a team that has a really good offense like New Orleans, where they're going to get points no matter what, that's where it's a problem. And the Bears left so many points on the board in that game. So many points. They had 3 field goals, and they should have had more points. They got to get touchdowns more.
And the reason why they lost that game, like you said, this New Orleans offense is insane. They have Alvin Kamara. He's the one that kind of came through for this team. In your unbiased opinion, do you think that Alvin Kamara or Dalvin Cook is a better running back?
I can't. I will
Pretend
try
it's your
not to
fantasy
be.
team. Pretend it's your
If
fantasy
it's my
team.
fantasy team, that's a really tough decision to make, Sam. You're putting me on the spot because Alvin Kamara, I think fantasy-wise, might actually be better because of how many catches he gets.
Right, because he's receiving too.
Right. Drew Brees' average completed air yards is 3.4 yards. And in this game, 21 of his passes were 0 to 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, or in front of the line of scrimmage, and 11 of his passes were behind the line of scrimmage. He loves to check it down to Alvin Kamara, whereas Kirk Cousins doesn't really throw the ball to Dalvin Cook too much. They actually started throwing it to him in the Packer game, and it worked. But I think Alvin Kamara I would take in fantasy because Drew Brees has just no arm whatsoever and really refuses to throw the ball more than 10 yards. But Dalvin Cook, I think, in a pro-style offense is the better old-school traditional running back. But Alvin Kamara is a weapon in the open field, just an absolute versatile weapon, whereas Dalvin Cook, I think, maybe it's just the way they use him, but I think he's just more of a downhill running back who likes to get the ball under center, a la Adrian Peterson. But I really hope they give him more passes in the open field because he does a lot of good stuff with it.
Yeah, I mean, why not? If he's capable of catching the ball and taking it, like, why not make him like a running back receiver type of player?
They should have been doing this the entire season. The Vikings, what they've been doing this year has been really frustrating. They'll go 3 and out because they will just bomb the ball. They'll just throw it deep all the time. Kirk Cousins wants to air it out to Adam Thielen. I've said on my show before, Adam Thielen, his average air yards per intended pass is like 20. Like on average, he's 20 yards down the field when he gets the ball thrown to him. And Justin Jefferson, they throw deep to him a lot. Start simplifying this offense. Just get catches. There's a lot of bad tackling going on in the NFL right now. Because of COVID, you're probably seeing a lot worse tackling, and maybe that's why there's so many points being scored. A guy like Dalvin Cook, you just got to get him the ball, and he will do great things. Be more creative with Dalvin Cook getting the ball. This was his highest amount of attempts in a game with 30 in his career. So, and he didn't even look winded whatsoever. So I think he needs the ball more.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, and I'm glad that you guys got him back and that it wasn't as severe of an injury as it could have been, so that he's back in the game now. So, okay, the last game that we had here was the Detroit-Indianapolis game. To be quite honest with you, I thought it was kind of lackluster. Wasn't really that, like the Vikings Green Bay game, but there was this amazing run by Nyheim Hines, I believe is how you say his name. He did this amazing spin move and just like took off down the field. Personally, I've never heard of this guy before, but has he like been around for the season, or was he previously drafted?
I think he's been in their system for a couple years. He's their third down guy. He's their Darren Sproles type, catch the ball out of the backfield. Phillip Rivers uses him a lot in a few of these games this year. He's had a good showing. They have a lot of weapons at running back with Jonathan Taylor and Wilkins and then Nyheim Hines. But yeah, that spin move was
so
electric.
Pretty. It was
and
so good.
What was more electric was his celebration after.
Oh my God. He like jumped up in the air, did one of those spin things and landed it. It was like what you'd see in the Olympics.
You couldn't have scripted that any better. That's like movie quality production right there. Scoring an awesome touchdown and then just slamming that celebration perfectly.
Yeah, he did it twice. I think he scored 2 touchdowns.
He did, yeah.
He did a second time, and I was just like, that is not an easy thing to do. You should not be able to do that.
No, you really should not.
But, I mean, overall, this game, again, like I said, I really didn't see that much coming from the Lions, anything, like, crazy. Do you have any, like, insights on the Lions right now?
Yeah, I love Matt Stafford. I'm a Matt Stafford fan, a big Matt Stafford fan. His pocket presence is beautiful. If you watch him play, the way he just knows where pass rushers are going to be, and he steps up every time. Unlike Nick Foles, who just drops back, keeps dropping back, never seems to step up. If you watch the Bears, he's always throwing off his back foot. And sometimes you just got to trust your instincts and just step up in the pocket. Matt Stafford, there was a lot of times in this game where the Colts sent pressure and they have a fearsome foursome at defensive line. And he just willingly stepped up and made some really nice throws, but it's not enough to make up for how bad their defense is. If you give up 41 points to the Indianapolis Colts, there's something wrong because they take the air out of the ball. They play slow. They're not the greatest show on turf. Phillip Rivers, he throws like Uncle Rico. He's not very good. But they just have a formula in Indianapolis right now. They have a really good winning formula, similar to what I saw out of the San Francisco 49ers last year. It's just strong defense, good running, good offensive line, and that'll win you games. You don't need a star quarterback.
No, I mean, I like Matt Stafford too. And at one point, he was like this highest paid quarterback. At this point, it's not even anything anymore because everybody's getting paid all this dollars. But I do enjoy watching Matt Stafford play, and I wish that the Lions were like just a little bit better. I mean, in my head, Matt Patricia is on the hot seat right now because they're not doing too good.
And he won himself back off the hot seat with a couple wins, and now he just got back on the hot seat by losing that game. Because when the Lions lose, it's ugly because it's either they blow a big lead or their defense just plays so flat. And he's a defensive guy. Patricia is a Bill Belichick defensive system guy. And they have some guys on their defense that played for the Patriots who you would expect more out of, like Jamie Collins. And I think Danny Shelton played under Patricia. But it's sad to see the Lions year after year light up the scoreboard on offense and just never have a defense to help. I say it on my show all the time. If you put the Lions offense with the Bears defense, you would have the greatest NFL team of all time.
That sounds about right, because that Bears defense is I would love nothing more than to have a defense like the Chicago Bears. With Khalil Mack, it's impeccable. I love it so much.
But at what cost? 2 first-round picks.
Well, I have my Giants shirt on. They're about to play Monday Night Football against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I mean, our defense isn't awful, but I'd rather work on our offense because we are not good.
I like to compare the Giants offense to the Bears offense a lot. I think you guys have a lot in common because everybody always complains about the offensive line. Oh, it's the offensive line. I try to argue with my Giants friends, the fans, and they say the offensive line is the reason why they're so bad. I say stop running the ball out of the shotgun. Stop playing out of the shotgun so much. Go under center and just run the ball like an old school football team. You'll get a better chance to get running yards with pro-style offense, and then you can open up the pass game with the play action. If you're trying to open up the run game with the pass, that's what I feel like the Giants try to do. and it just never works. You gotta crawl before you walk. You gotta run before you pass. And every week they just don't establish the run game, just like the Bears don't.
Yeah, and I think that it's a combination of those two, because we also have a really bad offensive line. It's not good, and
It doesn't help. It doesn't help. But personnel-wise, Jason Garrett, he's been used to having an amazing offensive line.
yeah,
And his scheme doesn't work with the offensive line he has now.
I know. And I can't believe that they brought in someone from the Dallas Cowboys to the New York Giants. I don't know why they thought that would be a good idea, but here we are.
He looks good. It looks better for Jason Garrett now that the Cowboys are doing so bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But we all know he was still a really bad NFL head coach.
Yeah. Was not good. But that's the NFC East. That's just the dumpster fire sitting over there. We don't have to talk about them. But just
the Vikings would be first. The Vikings would be first in the NFC East.
That's what I'm talking about. The fact that the Eagles and the Cowboys were on prime time on Sunday Night Football, I almost went to sleep. It was so boring. It was so awful. And the Cowboys are dealing with Ben DiNucci. Like, who is this man? He played at James Madison University. They played the UAlbany football team. We probably saw Ben DiNucci play when we were at school. That's tragic. Because the UAlbany football team is not good.
They were awful.
We were not good.
Until my senior year, they actually made it to the playoffs. That was a shocker. That was a big shocker. They got good all of a sudden, but it was really rough. And they play in a really good conference. But yeah, they should probably go to D2 or D3 in my opinion.
Yeah, no, we also there was a guy from the Richmond Spiders, Kyle Lauletta. He was our backup on the Giants for a little while, and then he got arrested like 17 times, and then we had to get rid of him. So I was like, all right.
Classic Giants player.
Right. All right. So the NFC North as a whole, just what are your thoughts just in the picture of everything going on right now? Is there a chance that the Vikings move up? Is there a chance that the Packers start to decline? Like, what do you think?
Well, the Vikings, they've gotten rid of the hard teams on their schedule. So I think they're going to win some games. I think they play Dallas, Jacksonville, and another cupcake team in the next few weeks. But I'm concerned about the Packers still. I think the Packers will win games against bad opponents. They don't drop games like that. And the Bears, I'm not concerned about the Bears that much. I think we could pick up wins against the Bears. I think there's really lost right now on offense. And then the Lions are a little dark horse team. They could make a run, but I think ultimately, there's going to be no team in the division that has less than 6 wins. I think they're all going to have at least 6 wins. And I think the Vikings finish 7-9. I have the Lions finishing 6-10 still. I think the Bears will find a way to lose a lot of games and go 9-7. And I think the Packers will go like 11-5. But this division, man, the year that the Vikings had to be so bad, this would have been the best year to be really good because the NFC is a toss-up right now.
Yeah, it is.
I think the winner of the NFC North could be a Super Bowl contender because there's a lot of flaws elsewhere in the NFC. We go to the West, we see the Seahawks. They're not a complete team at all. And the 49ers are in shambles. The Rams,
so bad.
The Rams are in shambles. And then you have the Saints, who I just am not sold on them at all. And then the Bucks, who can they pull it off in their first year as a real NFL organization? I just feel like the Vikings had all the recipe to be a Super Bowl contender this year, and they blew it.
Yeah, I know. The NFC really is. I mean, apart from the East, I mean, obviously.
No. Oh, yeah, I forgot about them.
You don't have to mention them. They're not. You don't even have to bother. Like, one team is probably going to be the Eagles. Are going to end up in the playoffs. They get out in the first round. It's nothing.
Easily.
But I think that because in my mind, I think I said it on your show. My NFC Championship game is Bucks Packers, but that was that's very premature. I did that before the season even started. So now that all of these teams are like, all of a sudden they're just like doing this stuff, and especially in the NFC North, I'm like, oh, like I really thought that the Packers were going to come out they did really great their first few games, but I don't know. It's like you said, it's totally a toss-up, and the NFC, I think it's going to be a tough playoff run for them for sure.
Yeah, they always say defense wins championships. So can you see a team like the Packers or the Seahawks right now win a Super Bowl with their defenses? It's hard to imagine that. So then we go to the next two best defenses. You could say the Bucks and the Bears.
Yeah.
But right now, I think the Bucks are the most complete team. But just wait on the Packers. Don't write them off just yet, Sam.
Mhm.
They have a lot of injuries on their defense, a lot, and they're starting a lot of rookies on their defense. So I still believe in Green Bay, and I would like to see the Super Bowl contender come from the NFC North, because that would at least make me feel better about the Vikings, having an awful year.
Yeah. What a crazy NFC championship game would be Bears Buccaneers, because it'd be a Nick Foles Tom Brady situation again.
Yes.
And I think that would be insane, because apparently Nick Foles is the new kryptonite. Now that Eli's gone, Tom Brady can't win against Eli for some reason, but now it's Nick Foles.
Yeah, and this year I just think Nick Foles, there's a good shot he doesn't even finish the year as the Bears quarterback. I'm serious. He's really, it's hard to say he's going to finish the year, because Trubisky, I said it on my show, he wasn't playing that bad. He was not awful.
He was 3-0.
Yeah, he wasn't losing them games.
No.
I'm surprised they pulled the plug so early, and I think Matt Nagy is clearly regretting that one now. He has to be.
I mean, at this point though, I think that if Foles wins another game or two, I think that they're definitely going to start considering bringing Trubisky back, because again, the guy didn't lose any games. He just wasn't playing at like this stellar level. Yeah, Foles has won a few games, but he's lost some games too now. So I don't know. It's like you said, it's such a toss-up. It's insane.
Yeah. Yes. Anything else going on in the North you want to talk about?
I mean, other than the fact that the Giants are going to get their butt smacked by the Buccaneers momentarily. Actually, they just started.
Oh, what do you got? What's your score prediction in that one?
I have a feeling it's going to be just like the Buccaneers Green Bay game. It's going to end up being 38-10.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cold-blooded of you.
I'm trying to be realistic.
No, you're pessimistic.
When I went on Big Blue Avenue, which is another show from Gabe's sports Facebook Live, they were giving all these like super high scores, and they asked me, they were like, yeah, who do you think is gonna win? And I was like, I don't know. I think they're you don't want to
say the Bucks, because you're on a Giants podcast, so
right.
You don't want to look like that guy, but I have it closer. Maybe it's because I picked in my pool the Giants to cover the spread, so it's wishful thinking. But I hope that they cover the 10.5 point spread. I hope it's like 27-17. They would cover the 10.5 point spread barely, and that would make me happy.
I mean, it would make me happy too, even if they lost, because it just shows that they can put points on the board. But it is what it is, and who knows what this bloodbath will be tonight. But hopefully Tom Brady still has some sort of weird thing with the Giants. Maybe he'll just completely just get scared. I don't know. Who's to say? I don't know.
Maybe he'll forget the downs and he'll just I don't know. The Giants need help. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
They need more help.
Yeah, but maybe, Tom getting old, forgetting the downs. 4th? 5th? Is it 6th down? I don't know what down it is. Maybe we'll get lucky.
Hope so. I really am rooting for the Giants. I want to see the Giants succeed.
Me too. But Gabe, thank you so much for coming on the podcast this week. I really appreciate it, and breaking down this NFC North. You could toss your plugs out there if you want again. Let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, so you could find my show. It's every Tuesday night, 6 to 7 on Facebook Live. It's called Review and Preview Sports, and the show is called The North Pole. And yeah, Sam, thank you for having me on. This was a lot of fun, and good luck to your Giants tonight.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody, we're going to go back to the regular scheduled programming on the podcast. All right, everyone. So that was our interview with Gabe. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a really fun time doing it. Like I said, Gabe is like one of my good friends from college. We did our college radio show together, and it was pretty fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. But now, since that did go on for quite some time, we are at the 40-minute mark. I want to get into NFL Week 8 because obviously we did not discuss everything in that interview. So first things first. Getting my notes here. Let's start with the Patriots. All right. The Patriots have fallen to 2-5. And honestly, at this point, a lot of people are saying, even though Bill Belichick probably is a warlock, we're not really seeing the Patriots are not going to be doing too hot this season. And now that the Bills are 6-2 and the Dolphins are 4-3, I believe, they're not winning this division. It's not happening. They will not be seeing the playoffs this year. And even last year, I remember them being like maybe 10-6. And I said, like, this is the worst 10-6 team I've ever seen. So the Patriots are not looking too hot. And they could have forced the Bills into overtime during this game. However, Cam Newton decided to take the ball all by himself. And he ended up fumbling it. So it was... You know, you can blame all you want on that you don't have stars, you don't have receivers, anything like that. Cam, that was all you, buddy. That could have been a big play. You guys could have went into overtime, but it didn't happen. But I'm really happy that the Bills won. So since I just mentioned the Dolphins, let's move on to the Dolphins. They won over the Rams. Like I said, they're 4-3. This was Tua Tagovailoa's first start, which also just a quick little college football tidbit. Tua has a younger brother named Tua, and he plays for Maryland and just won his first career start in college. So, how the stars have aligned. So, Tua's first start, he got his first touchdown as an NFL quarterback, but I don't think Tua was the reason that they won this game. He even said himself, "Thank God we have a good defense." That is a quote from Tua. So the Dolphins defense really showed up for this game against the Rams. I believe Jared Goff had 4 interceptions, which is you should not have 4 interceptions in a game. I don't know if you guys knew that, but you shouldn't throw interceptions in a football game. So the Dolphins did really well. Their special teams did really well. Jakeem Hunt had a 88-yard punt return. It was exquisite. I loved it so much. And the Dolphins ran this game. The Dolphins defense, I should say, ran this game. And the Dolphins ended up getting the win over the LA Rams. Very big win for them. The Steelers. Oh my goodness. The Steelers. Let me say, for the past 8 weeks now, my brother, being a Steelers fan, who I believe will be coming on the pod next week to be my guest next week, he has been so flippin' happy because the Steelers, he has yet to see in his lifetime an undefeated Steelers team. So this is a really big deal for them. And now they are 7-0. 8-0? No, they're 7-0. So it's going to be a really, really big deal for them if they end up being this undefeated team in the AFC, because that's going to be a really, really scary AFC championship games if it ends up being the Steelers and the Chiefs. I know in the past, my way too early prediction was that the Chiefs were going to be playing the Ravens in the AFC championship game. However, I think, my prediction might be wrong because the Ravens are, I don't know what it is about them. I don't see Lamar doing as good as he did last year in this MVP season he's following. It's just not working out for them. And obviously the Steelers defense is unstoppable, really. And the Ravens and Lamar didn't really stand a chance, but they kept it a very close game. It all came down to this throw at the end of the game. Minkah Fitzpatrick blocked a extremely good pass in the end zone, but they ended up winning this game against the Ravens. Big division win, big win in the fact that they're still undefeated. And the Steelers, they play the Dallas Cowboys next week. So you can consider them, I hope I'm not jinxing this, knock on wood, you can consider them 8-0. So, moving on. Also, before that, Avery Williamson from the New York Jets got traded to Pittsburgh that Sunday night and posted a stellar picture. I will put it in the YouTube video of him in a Jets jersey in Manhattan with an umbrella with his finger out that he's hitchhiking to Pittsburgh. So he went from 0-8 to 7-0 overnight. So congrats to you, Avery Williamson. Let's move on to this Broncos-Chargers game, okay? I wanted the Chargers to win this game so bad. And Justin Herbert, let me just tell you right now, put it on the record. I know that we have been Justin Herbert fans since the draft, right? I believe I said I wanted him to get drafted over Tua in the draft, but I didn't want him to go to the Dolphins. So I have been a Justin Herbert fan since he was at Oregon. Justin Herbert didn't lose this game. He played and did so well and did everything that he needed to do to win this game. And unfortunately, the Broncos ended up getting down the field. The Chargers defense couldn't do what they needed to do to stop that last-minute touchdown that was literally at the 0-second mark. There was nothing left on the clock. 0 seconds. Ended up being a 31-30 game. The Broncos and Drew Lock coming out on top. And the Chargers had a really big lead that they definitely should have kept, and they didn't. So the defense needs to step up for the Chargers immensely because the Broncos scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. And like I said, Justin's playing a great season. On the season, he has 1,542 yards, 12 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. So I would say, Justin Herbert, keep doing you. Keep doing what you need to do, and you're doing fine, buddy. Just keep going. All right, let's move on to another upset with another one of our favorite quarterbacks from this year's draft, Joey Burrow. Joe Burrow and the Bengals beat the Titans. The Titans. I don't know if you heard me just now, but the Bengals beat the Titans. Very big win for the Bengals in this game. I'm just perplexed that this was even considered a game. So Joe Burrow, again, someone who has been doing very well this season, but really not, his team isn't really helping him out too much. But Joe Burrow puts up numbers every single week. So this week he had 26 for 37 completions, 249 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And there was a insane tackle that he got out of. He ran, and I counted, 11 seconds before the play ended. He dropped back, he scrambled a bit, a defender was holding on to him, and he got out of it, decided to run the ball himself. He was about 2 yards or 3 yards away from the first down marker. If nobody's there, but he literally got out so well, and I was like, that is impressive. The Bengals O-line was missing 4 out of 5 of their starters, and yet Joe Burrow was not sacked one time. So the offensive line for the Bengals, without their starters, seemed to be doing very well, gave Joe Burrow enough time to put up these numbers that I mentioned before. Joe Mixon was out for this game. However, Giovanni Bernard took his place. 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 receiving, 62 yards. I say that that's a solid backup to have, especially with someone like Joe Mixon out. So, moving on a few more times to the Raiders. The Raiders silenced the Browns. The Browns were coming out saying like, oh my God, they're doing so good. And, again, I love Baker Mayfield with all my heart. And again, like I think I've said before, I might be alone on this train. I think his progressive commercials are very funny. They're even funnier when the Browns are winning. However, this week, they totally just killed the Browns. And I think that the Raiders are going to be someone who ends up in the wild card round in this year's playoffs. The Chiefs clobbered the Jets. The Jets are 0-8. Adam Gase still has a job as of November 3rd at 1:40 p.m. November 3rd is election day. Don't forget to go out and vote. I'm sorry, but this is coming out tomorrow. Sorry, if you didn't vote, I'm mad at you. but I'm not mad at people who did vote. So Adam Gase still has a job. To be quite honest with you, 35-9, obviously big blowout for the Chiefs. But congrats to the Jets for putting up 9 points. That's great for you. At least you put up 9 points against the Chiefs, but you couldn't put up any points against the Dolphins. But like we mentioned earlier, Dolphins have a fantastic defense. The Chiefs had a fake punt, which led to a 36-yard touchdown, which was quite miraculous. The punter threw this glorious throw to Pringle. It was great. I was like, okay, that works. Then the Chiefs, again, came out on top. Tyreek Hill now has the most receiving touchdowns of 40-plus yards in NFL history. He's tied at 23 with none other than the GREAT. So, very, very big day for Tyreek Hill. The Seahawks, all I have to say about the Seahawks, Russell Wilson deserves MVP, and someone check in on DK Metcalf's DNA, because he may or may not be a human. I would just check on that, because I don't know. He's insane. The Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles played Sunday night. I almost fell asleep. The Eagles will be winning the NFC East. I'm just putting that out there. The big thing that came out of this game, obviously, without Dak, without Andy Dalton, the Cowboys played Ben DiNucci, their third-string quarterback. And all I have to say about Ben DiNucci is that Al Michaels totally flamed him on national television by telling the entire world that he had a girlfriend who was a doctor who broke up with him last Monday. They said, oh, do you think she cares now because you're the starter for the Dallas Cowboys? And he goes, no, she's a doctor. And I was like, wow. Flamed, epically flamed. And also a bunch of Ben DiNucci's tweets came up, like people just completely demolished him. But to be quite honest, they are from like 8 or 10 years ago. So, I mean, how much can you really compare that person to the person they were 8 years ago? I don't think that that's very fair, but irrelevant at this point. Ben DiNucci got broken up with by his doctor girlfriend, and I think that is the main takeaway from this game. Finally, to wrap up NFL Week 8, we had Monday Night Football against the Giants and the Buccaneers. Let me tell you, like you guys heard in the Gabe interview, I happened to go past 8 o'clock, so I missed about the first quarter of that game. But, oh my God, we almost beat Tom Brady. And we would have beat let me just say we would have made it into overtime if the referees called pass interference on that 2-point conversion. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Okay, take it easy. Okay. I'm very upset about that because it was pass interference. I don't care if I'm biased. That was pass interference. The Giants would have gotten another shot. I believe they would have scored those 2 points. It would have been 25-25. We would have went into overtime. And if we won the toss, I believe that we would have won that game. Okay. Also, Daniel, throw the ball long. I don't know if you're listening or not, Daniel Jones. Listen to me. All right, buddy? Throw the ball. Quit throwing it short. You're not getting first downs that way. Throw the ball long. It always works out. Throw to Darius Slay, Golden Tate, not Evan Ingram because he drops things. Just throw the ball, okay? I promise you it will work. All right. That was NFL Week 8. And we are going on for much longer than I anticipated. So we're going to keep moving along here. I was going to do tea time with the fight that happened in the Bears-Saints game. However, because me and Gabe talked about it, we are going to skip over that tea time this week since I don't want to repeat myself. And I'd like to keep this episode under an hour and a half. So let's move on to our Let's Talk About It segment. And this week we are going to talk about Halloween costumes. Yay! So we're going to talk about Halloween costumes because obviously this past weekend was Halloween. A lot of costumes were put on Instagram, on Twitter, all that good stuff. So I have just a few that I want to rate this week for our Let's Talk About It segment this week. So I will put the costumes obviously up on the YouTube channel. However, if you are listening to the podcast, I will describe them for you as best as I can. So first things first. we have Miss Colleen Wolfe from NFL Network, who went as the NFC East, but she is in a garbage pail and she is on fire. Personally, I give this an 11 out of 10, and for not only creativity, but I know that she is an Eagles fan, so that took a lot of bravery to do. So shout out to Colleen Wolfe. Number 2, we have Adam Thielen, who went as Ghostbusters with him and his family. He was the Stay Puft Man. His wife and his children went as the Ghostbusters. It was very, very cute, although not extremely creative. I give him an 8 out of 10. All right, next one is Dwayne Wade and his family with Gabrielle Union. They went as s'mores. So Dwayne Wade was a graham cracker, Gab Union was a Hershey bar, and their child was a marshmallow. Super, super cute. I love that he incorporated his whole family. I love that it is very creative. I'm giving Dwayne Wade a 10 out of 10. All right, moving on to the last one here. It goes out to none other than Mr. Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk went as Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm, posted some amazing pictures of him just ripping on a skateboard, because what else does Tony Hawk do? And to be honest, 13 out of 10. He wins our Halloween rates this week, obviously, or this year, I should say, because I thought that it was actually Larry David ripping on a skateboard. So that was super impressive. So our next segment that we are going to do is our tweet of the week. So our tweet of the week this week, I have a main tweet for my tweet of the week, and then I have an honorable mention that I had to throw out there. So first things first, and this woman has been our tweet of the week more than one time, just because she puts out stellar tweets every week. That is Charlotte Wilder. She is my favorite sports writer probably ever of all time. Fangirling a little bit. So Charlotte Wilder, her tweet this week was, Steve Belichick's mullet was funnier when the Pats were good. To be quite honest with you, she is a Patriots fan. She is from Maine, I believe. So for me, Steve Belichick's mullet is funny all the time. I talked about Steve Belichick's mullet on the episode that's labeled Keeping Up with the Belichicks, because I was like, oh my god, he looks crazy. So I just thought that it was funny that she was like, it's not as funny because the Patriots are 2-5. And I thought that that was very funny. So that's our tweet of the week this week. However, our honorable mention goes to Mr. Chase Claypool, new rookie wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He tweeted out, losing? Never heard of her. And to be quite honest with you, Chase, I respect that tweet, because at your point in time as a rookie on the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have not experienced loss yet, and that is pretty incredible. So before we end off our feel-good story of the week, and we end off this week's episode, I just want to throw this out there. This isn't a segment. This is just something that I want to talk about. And I saw it on the TikTok. It is Nick Jonas with a conspiracy theory. Nick Jonas of the Jonas Brothers. If you don't know who the Jonas Brothers is, what is wrong with you? So I'm going to play you just the audio of this TikTok, because he has a very interesting sports conspiracy theory. So here is Nick Jonas talking about his conspiracy theory.
Dodgers won the World Series last night, and yet no one is talking about the very, very obvious theme here. To fully understand this conspiracy, we have to back things up to September 22nd, 2019. That is the date of the Jonas Brothers show in Kansas City, Missouri. You know who was at that show? Patrick Mahomes. Cut to a few months later, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs won Super Bowl 54. Next up, December 10th, Arizona. Who was there, you might ask? Oh, Cody Bellinger. Cut to October 27th, the Dodgers win the World Series. Now, last but not least, certainly not least, Lewis Hamilton attended the Jonas Brothers concert in Paris on February 22nd. Just last week, he won his 92nd Grand Prix, the most of all time. The key to success is to come to a Jonas Brothers show. It's basically the reverse of the Drake curse. Let's call it the Jonas Blip.
So, as you can see, the Jonas Brothers are good luck as opposed to the Drake curse, which every time Drake supports anybody, they lose. So obviously it seems like the Jonas Brothers, whenever you attend a concert or you see the Jonas Brothers, you will win. So let me just put that out there. Anybody who wants to win a championship, go to a Jonas Brothers concert. They are fantastic and so much fun. I have been to 2 in my lifetime. Anyway, I don't even want to discuss that at all. I just wanted to share that with you all. So thank you guys all for just bearing with me there. All right. Finally, let's end off our show here, people. So, first things first, we have 2 feel-good stories this week, both having to do with marriage, which is so exciting. So, the first thing is that DJ Chark from the Jaguars got married during his bye week, and which is just really lovely. I'll add a picture that I saw on Instagram into the YouTube video. And our second feel-good story of the week is that Rapinoe and Sue Bird got engaged. The two of the best women's athletes in their respective sports, soccer and basketball, are now engaged. I am perplexed. For some reason, I feel embarrassed to say this. I didn't realize that they were together. I obviously know who Sue Bird is, and I know who Rapinoe is, and for some reason, I never put 2 and 2 together that they were dating each other. So congratulations to Megan and Sue. That is fantastic. Just so cute. They got married in this, or not married, they got engaged on this beautiful dock, it seems like in their bathing suits. Just so precious. I'm so happy. And those are our feel-good stories of the week, and that is going to wrap up this week's episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to follow, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever it is that you get your podcasts from, because it is available everywhere, as well as subscribe on YouTube, The Girl Who Talks Sports. Also turn on notifications to make sure that you get the notifications when I upload a new video, which hint hint, there might be a special video for you. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you will know about it. And also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, TGWTS Podcast, and leave an Apple iTunes review. Thank you. So guys, I hope you all have a fun, fantastic, sports-filled day. Wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance, and I will see you guys all next week for NFL Week 9. Bye!